The I2I interview hosted by Friends of Global Cleveland. Today, sitting by me is our honorable guest, Dr. Nizar Zein, the chairman of Global Patient Service at Cleveland Clinic. Thank you for hosting us at your office.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to be here.
We were just talking that you have lived in many other countries besides the US. And now, apparently, you are the head of Global Patient Service.
Sure.
So do you think the living experience in foreign countries affect your career path?
It actually affected my career path in many different ways and in a very strong way. I would say the fact that, and that's because mostly my parents moved to other places. I got to live in Syria and Greece, spend good time in England. Those experiences were very important for me to feel comfortable that I can actually operate in a place outside the borders of the country where I was born. It was also most important because through these experiences I understood very clearly that the shared human values are really the same everywhere, and that the differences are very few, although the differences are what often get focused on. So understanding that anywhere you go you are going to find many values similar to the values you grew up with will make you immediately more comfortable working, operating, or living in a foreign country. Absolutely, it was a very important part of my life.
Talking about common value, you have said, quote, being a physician means to be part of the patient's life. And I think that actually shows the common value for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I know you are also mentoring many young physicians in the Cleveland Clinic. By mentoring them, see them grow, do you have any advice to all the international young professionals in Cleveland?
I mean, my only advice is not to do some of the mistakes I did, some of which is do not be intimidated by being in a culture that is different than yours, and do not get discouraged if you face challenges. Actually, you will face challenges in your own country or in a third country in which you live.
Yeah.
So challenges are part of life. Do not take it personal and do not be intimidated by it. And on the contrary, be assured with persistence and with time that you are going to cross paths with many people that will shape your future in a very positive way. And that is true if you live in the US or you live in China or you live in Middle East, and no matter where you are from, you are going to cross paths with people who will very much show you the way, so you don't need to be nervous or anxious or so I think don't be afraid, don't be intimidated. That's my advice.
Go back to our questions. You do mention that don't be intimidated,
Right.
face the challenge,
Yeah.
and the change will come, you will find your own path.
Yeah.
So reflect back to yourself and your own experience. Could you give us an example or your personal story, how you face challenge and how you overcome them?
Well, I mean, I would say the biggest challenge when I came to the US was my own parents. So my dad called me and he said, well, you know, you don't even speak English.
Why you come?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was my biggest challenge to convince them that I have a good reason to go, that medical care is amazing, that medical training is wonderful, that there is something to learn by training abroad, and that will serve patients, you know, being well trained will serve my patients, whether I am in the US or I am back home or in Europe, it doesn't matter where I am. So the biggest challenge was to try to explain, you know, you always have to sell your idea, your project. When you are young, you sell it to your parents. As you grow up, you sell it to whoever you work with, you know, your seniors or the people who report to you. So that was a big challenge. I got here And very quickly I realized my dad was right. So I actually had problems ordering food at restaurants. I
Point to the food instead
well,
of saying
and frequently I will order soap instead of soup. And this is true actually. I had challenges when I started my residency in using the right medical expression. So it was a challenge. When I look back at it, I think it is probably one of the most exciting parts of my life because your knowledge going up very quickly. You are learning about the culture, about medicine, about the language. So you are not learning only medicine, but you are learning so many other things along the way.
Right.
So these are big challenges, and a very important challenge for me was to get a position for training in residency. I was lucky; I didn't have to wait very long, but immediately after I came and started applying, I realized, medical organizations, hospitals would look at my CV. They would see a medical school they never heard of. They would see a name of reference that is, they can't even spell the name of the guy who's supposed to be my reference, or it's very difficult for them to assess what the quality of training I had in the past, and so all these challenges are common. Once you go past it, of course new challenges will come up, but at least you become very familiar in means and ways to overcome these challenges. But I think I would not have enjoyed the journey if I had no challenges. So in many ways, I think it makes it even more rewarding. Yeah.